stopper with great skill from him. Doing the Mo Salah! Raheem Sterling! What a finish! What pure class from the Englishman!
Premier Talk, the English Premier League podcast for the fans.
Hello and welcome back to the Premier Talk podcast. This is season 4, episode 1. I'm one of your two hosts, as always, Andrew Melo. And alongside with me is my boy Danny B, Danny Barbuto. Forza Azzurri, Daniel. Forza
Come on,
Azzurri.
Forza Azzurri.
Daniel, it's been a while since you've been on here. Very busy, obviously, trying to get things back up and running after the summer break. Many match days have passed already so far. Well, seven. Some teams have played 6. So we're going to go through everything we've missed so far. And in addition, we're going to go, talk about some of the hot news that's going on right now in the Prem.
Yeah, we have a lot to catch up on. We've taken a pretty lengthy hiatus, if you will. So it's finally good to be back, and we got to catch up big time.
Yeah, we're going to catch up today. For sure, it's going to be a jam-packed podcast episode today. Daniel, let's go into the starting lineup here. So we're going to talk about everything we missed.
We're going to do a table recap.
And then we're going to do our annual yearly predictions. So we're going to go over, our dark horses, our top 4, top 6, if you will. And also just who might get relegated. So it's going to be really interesting to see, we have a little bit of a sample, 7 games here to see. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Everything we missed, starting us off, because we have missed a good amount. We haven't done an episode in, I would say, 4 months now.
It's been a minute. It's been a while. But
kicking us off, season 4, everything we missed. The first, probably biggest point, is that Erling Braut Haaland is in the Premier League, and he is going to break every single goal scoring record that has been set in a year.
Yeah, Daniel, this transfer was one of the best bits of business I've seen in a long time. Everybody said as soon as the news broke, really, a couple of months back, and for the price that they paid, which is roughly like 60 million, I think it was, for a quality striker, world-class striker, which he's soon to be, or if he isn't already, it is just such clever business, because you see guys like Darwin Núñez. As much as I love Darwin Núñez, we'll get into him a little bit after. It's just too much money. It's just too much money sometimes, and I feel like they really got an awesome price tag on Erling Haaland. You see, he's averaging I think it is 1.5 goals per game, which is pretty crazy. It's almost 2 goals a game, and he's no longer playing in the Bundesliga. I'm not saying the Bundesliga isn't a great league, but the Premier League is the cream of the crop. It's the best league out there possible. And for him to be doing this in the Prem is truly special.
And you have a man like Kevin De Bruyne, who's also just tied Gerrard for most Premier League assists in 280 games less or something ridiculous like that. Feeding him the ball, and Haaland's an absolute machine up front. He's willing to run through everybody. He's massive. He has a body type to just body and push off defenders. And he's a scary human being. He is not somebody that I would want to stand in front of running at full speed. And he's already sitting at, I believe, 11 league goals. De Bruyne already has 6 assists. It's going to be City this year is going to be wild. Just absolutely nuts. And I think they have the possibility of breaking their own record that they set, which was 103 points in a calendar year. They're that crazy. This team is just incredible.
Daniel, it's such a scary sight, like you said, to have Haaland running at you. And I think he was truly the piece they were missing up front. Pep loves to play a false 9. That's just Pep's system. Keep the ball, maintain the ball. That the most forward player drops in between and acts like a cam essentially. And Haaland isn't that type of player. It's not a player that really fits that false 9 system than the 4-3 formation, but he comes in here and he plays a little bit higher, a little more freedom, and it sort of shifts what Pep has been doing for the last 10-15 years as a coach, right? So Haaland, I think, was the wild card that they're missing. He brings something extremely unique and different from the smaller, more I guess, agile number nines that Pep was accustomed to having, and guys like obviously Aguero, Gabriel Jesus at City. He's played with Messi at the false line, but it's a completely different player you're getting in Erling Haaland. So I think it was what they're missing. I think it might also bring them over that hump in the Champions League. And I think they're one of the favorites just because you bring in a guy like Haaland and you maintain a solid, deep squad around him. So it was
Deep.
it was brilliant.
Deep squad around them. Like they can realistically put two teams in the Prem, and both those teams will probably finish top three, no matter how you split that team. And for him to be a get in behind striker that's just gonna go out there, score a goal a game, get his job done, is exactly what you said, is exactly what's gonna push him over the edge in Champions League.
Daniel,
That was the biggest one, easily the biggest one, I think.
I agree.
This one is just ridiculous, in my personal opinion. Thomas Tuchel has been sacked and replaced by Graham Potter. Andrew Melo, being a Blues fan, how do you feel about this one?
I got the City kit on today, but
yeah, you're wearing a City kit, first of all, which I cannot even believe.
The only reason why I'm wearing the City kit, though, I'll be honest with you, Daniel, is because it's got a Ruben Dias on the back. So that's the only reason. It was a gift. So anyways,
It's a nice kit. Come on.
It is pretty fresh. Got the patch there. Anyways, seeing Tuchel leave was just one of the worst departures in a long time, in respect to coaches leaving their respective clubs. I understand a new owner of the club wants to come in and shape the club in a way that he feels will align with what he's got planned for the next 5-10 years, right? And I think ultimately it wasn't the poor results that Tuchel was getting that got him fired. It was the fact that it was a good and timely excuse, if it makes sense, that Bowley could get rid of him, and put in a guy there that he prefers. And I think that also bringing in the new manager, the former Brighton Hove Albion manager in Potter, there is a sort of favoritism for the British coaches, right? And I think just getting rid of Tuchel was just terrible after all he's done for the club, and that the fact that they weren't too terrible to start the season. It wasn't a Chelsea start that you would have loved to see and that they're so accustomed to, but at the same time, it wasn't enough to get a coach fired.
Look, they sit in 7th, which isn't up to Chelsea standards. Liverpool sits in 8th. Do you see them running around firing Klopp?
No.
There's just the standard set by Todd Bowley, which he's a sham, first of all, for wanting a Premier League All-Star game, which is a whole other topic in itself. But for him to just go around and just be like, see you later, Tuchel, we don't need you anymore, and then go get Graham Potter, who was having an unreal start to the season with Brighton. Brighton currently sitting, I believe, in like 4th, which I don't think anybody expected at all. But for him to do that so quickly without even like a lot of thought, it seemed like there was no thought behind it. It seemed like, I don't want Tuchel anymore, let's go get Graham Potter. That's what it seemed like as an outsider looking in. And as a manager that brought you a Champions League, that brought you a League Cup, that gave time, heart, and effort into this side and wanted to see players succeed at a whole other level, it's just crazy to me that you can just go and throw them away the first opportunity you get.
And I know at the same time too, like I don't think they were successful in bringing in the players that Tuchel wanted. Tuchel wanted some players.
They gave him nothing
this window, and they missed out on Koundé. That was the guy he was looking for a long time, and Barcelona was able to snatch him up.
Thank God.
And then you bring in a striker like Aubameyang. I know they had the connection there before, and that's what brought Aubameyang. But at the same time, I don't think that was Tuchel's number one guy that he wanted to bring in. I feel like they've really put him in a position where he hasn't been able to have the tools he needs, and also the transfer windows that some of these other big PL clubs have had. And at the same time, they've had him on a very, very tight leash that I don't think was, justified enough. It's just, I think ultimately it came down to new owner, and a new outlook. They just hired a new sporting director as well today. So I think they're really trying to clean house in some certain higher positions, right? And then shape it to way Bowley wants it. So tough situation.
Yeah. And Bowley is lost, in my opinion. On to the next thing we missed. Another big one. Arsenal. Are they finally buying into Arteta ball? They currently sit first in the league. They look like they shouldn't be messed with at all this year, unless United comes into town, and wipes them up. But it's fine. We're not going to talk about it. Are they buying in? Are these Arsenal players and I think these Arsenal fans, for me, Arsenal fans are all over the map. For those of you who know what I'm about to say, Arsenal, I've mentioned this so many times in the podcast. Arsenal have this loop of going through of Arteta's the best manager in the league. Everybody's starting to buy in. They start dropping points. Arteta out. Then they go and somebody has a great game, and then the whole cycle just rotates all over again. I can't stand that cycle. I think it's just ridiculous from an Arsenal fan perspective. But the players and the manager, Arteta, are finally giving them what they want, giving them something to cheer about, and making it seem like they could have a lasting impact this year and fight their way into finally a Champions League spot. I don't think in any chance do they have a chance to finish first. This isn't really what the discussion's about. It's more of them finishing in a Champions League spot. Because when was the last time they played Champions League? It's been too long.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're currently sitting first in the league, we're about to go into an international break. Then we have another 2 more months of Prem football. And then you got the World Cup. So I guess we'll revisit this at the World Cup stage, because then we'll see where they are sitting like 3 or 4 months deep into the season. But Melo, are they finally buying into Arteta ball? Is Arteta finally going to have an impact on this Arsenal side?
It's only 7 PL games in. That's what I want to remind people, because at the end of the day, we end up seeing a team's great. They've changed, and then January comes and they look like a completely different squad. So the thing for me with Arsenal this year is, yes, they do look significantly better than they have before in past years. I like the Fabio Vieira signing. I thought it was a good depth signing to keep with Odegaard. I think that Saliba is now a player that's ready to play in the PL, and a player ready to be a leader back there with Gabriel Magalhães. And I think that, things are starting to change. But Daniel, let me remind people that we're only 7 games in. 4 of the 7 matches that Arsenal have played this year have been against bottom half teams. Palace, one of those teams. Aston Villa had a poor start to the year. Bournemouth is another club they played. The only top of the table teams they played has been United, which they lost to. Brentford, they had a great showing against them yesterday, 3-0. But beyond that, they played teams that have been inferior. So I want to see them play against the likes of a City, Liverpool, a Chelsea, where they're going to be matched for quality, if not
they're going to be considered
catapulted for quality. Yeah. So I want to see a game where they're considered the inferior team, or the not the favorites, right? That's going to be interesting to me, because I want to see how they deal with the pressure of a tight game, or quality players going up against them. Because to be fair, some of the teams they've played this year in the Prem have been poor in form. So
Yep, I completely agree with that. Moving on, Ten Hag, does he have a real opportunity to do something special with United? United started the season off 0-2, may I remind everybody. And everybody was like, oh, Ten Hag has no chance. This team's going to be shocking. And they looked poor. They looked incredibly poor in those first 2 games. Since then, they're 4-0. Beating the likes of Arsenal already, who Arsenal still sits top of the league, but they handed them their first loss of the year. If not, Arsenal would be 7-0. Does he have the opportunity to finally do something with this Manchester United squad that United fans have been begging for over the last 10 years?
Daniel, this is similar to Arsenal. It's a new project for Ten Hag. It's going to take a different spin over the next couple of years. They've added some fantastic players like Casemiro, and I think that Malacia is a fantastic fullback. I think it's time for Luke Shaw to take
I
a
think
step
Luke
back
Shaw's done in
and
that
yeah,
spot.
I think it's time for him to take a step back, maybe look for something in a different club, because he just doesn't have the mobility for the system that Ten Hag wants to play. Ten Hag loves to utilize the fullbacks and the attacks. So guys like Malacia and Dalot have really excelled under Ten Hag. And I think that you bring in a guy like Casemiro, like you mentioned, is going to help a lot in the midfield because they never really had a true six that you could rely on with the quality, experience, and leadership of a guy like Casemiro. Guys like Fred just lack involvement, I'd say, in the big games and consistency. McTominay, for me, he's not at that level of Casemiro, but I think they can do something with Ten Hag. I think they can. The only decision I haven't really enjoyed with Ten Hag has been
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, yeah, and that's another talking point with this United side this year. Benching Ronaldo. I know Ronaldo deserved to be benched the first couple of games because he had a shortened preseason and wasn't up to the season speed. But now looking back and looking at Ronaldo, I think he can be very dangerous in this system with Ten Hag. I know he likes a mobile striker in Rashford. He's been playing Rashford, but for me, Rashford over the length of a season won't have too much success as a striker. I always see Rashford as a winger and someone that's better out on the wing. But the problem is they have now Anthony to battle with and Sancho and then Rashford. It's a lot of guys out there wide. So I see why he wants to play him centrally, more central. But I don't know. There's some little things with Ten Hag that I don't like, but I think he's okay. I think he's okay, and it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time with this team.
I look at the Ronaldo thing from like two different standpoints. Ten Hag wants to be a press first. He wants to be pressing back lines.
Yeah, and then
And
Ronaldo.
we know
yeah.
Ronaldo doesn't. He's aging. It's like the Ronaldo and Messi debate now is becoming. They're aging. They can't live up. You can't expect them to live up to the standards that they've put on over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
They've been possibly the two greatest players ever, but you're starting to see, as sad as it is, a slight decline in their play. Ronaldo doesn't have a league goal yet.
No.
He comes off the bench a lot.
He scored against Sheriff though.
Yeah, against Sheriff, a penalty in Europa League. But without a league goal, and as a striker who doesn't press like Ten Hag wants his system to implement, does he necessarily have a role in this side?
Daniel, I think the offensive capabilities of Cristiano are still much more valuable than Rashford. It's a guy like Rashford because Rashford he's inconsistent in front of goal. And I think that if you use the speed of your wingers that you have in Sancho and Anthony, and I think Rashford, like I just said, should be out there on the wing. And you feed balls into Ronaldo, you can have a lot of success. I understand that in terms of pressing in the attacking third when they don't have the ball in their defensive organization, they need speed up front, and Ronaldo lacks in that field now a little bit. But I still think that his attacking ability outweighs the negatives of losing a bit of speed in the defensive aspect.
Yeah,
I don't know. And Daniel, the one thing I enjoy about this guy is that he doesn't play Maguire just because he has a big price tag. So he brought in Lisandro Martinez too, and him and Varane have been a fantastic duo. And I think every game they've played without Maguire this year, they've won. So
they've won. Yep.
Yeah, so it's not by coincidence. I'll tell you that.
But I also think that he doesn't care. It's the same thing going on with Ronaldo. He doesn't, as much as he knows and he cares that Ronaldo is one of the greatest players of all time, he's not afraid to go out there, bring him in off the bench because he knows that he's not going to implement his system well. He's not scared to face the media after saying, why are you not starting Ronaldo? He's not afraid to face the media after for people asking why aren't you starting Maguire. It's something you like to see a manager do and not just
feed into the media bias and
feed into the media, feed into the fans, feed into all this garbage that he doesn't need to feed into.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's willing to come in and do something new, do something that other managers that have previously been there, we're not willing to do because of the backlash that they may face after.
Mhm. Daniel, next talking point here, something that I've been following quite heavily is the Darwin transfer one, and then the Darwin, is Darwin settling into Liverpool.
Look, his start to the season has been poor. The main thing everybody realizes is that he needs to keep a calmer head than he has. He already got a straight red for a headbutt, which was just totally unnecessary. It was a guy, I don't remember who it was against.
It was Anderson. It was against Anderson and Palace.
It was just he was just chirping. It was just that's all it was. And he turned around and headbutted him.
Yeah.
Like there was no need for it. And a straight red suspended 3 games. Like now he needs to work his way back into this Liverpool starting lineup.
Right now, Firmino has the #1 spot,
Yeah.
playing alongside Salah and I was gonna say Mane because they're so used to saying Mane, but
I know. Luis Diaz though.
Salah,
Luis Diaz has
Salah
been
and
sick.
Luis Diaz, but it's still Darwin has been the replacement essentially for the workload of, I guess, if you will, Mane leaving, right? And Darwin is a player that has no finesse and no real dribbling ability. He's like the best analogy, I guess, for him is a bull in a china shop. He'll just run in there and smash everything. And there's good things about that type of player. There's been #9s that have played in the Premier League throughout the years that have had, a great success playing that type of way, playing physical, getting in the heads of other players. A guy that comes to mind is Diego Costa that played on Chelsea for many, many years.
And he is back.
And he is back, in fact. So it's guys like that poachers really, that I think there's still a need for them in the game. And I think that people seeing the price tag, obviously, of Darwin, they're going to look at it and be like, hey, this guy's not producing the same way. Because right now people are comparing him to Haaland.
Which is just a terrible comparison in my opinion.
And you can't do that. I don't think it's always fair to compare players like that. And I think that Darwin will need a little more time to settle in to a different play style, different squad. The pressure of coming, playing with the price tag like that, because the same thing happened when he initially joined Benfica from Almeria, the second division side, now they're in first division in Spain. But when he joined Benfica, he really did struggle. And then he slowly picked it up and had a fantastic season last year, scoring many goals in the league. He was the league leading goal scorer. But it took time. It took time, Dan. And I think that people they see someone get to a squad and they're not producing right away. It's a little unfair sometimes. And I think that Darwin still has great seasons of football ahead of him. And I think they're going to come out of Liverpool. And I think that they're to come very soon. So I'm not worried about Darwin and his ability. I think that he's been underperforming, of course, but it'll come.
Talking about somebody who hasn't underperformed for a disgustingly large price tag, Anthony. Manchester United spent $100 million on Anthony right before the end of the transfer window. First game against Arsenal, comes out, bags a goal.
Yeah, I like Anthony. I think that he's a very crafty player. And that left foot is just really, really good. But again, 100 million, it's a lot of money. I feel like we say this all the time every time someone gets transferred, but it's a new normal, right? So the inflation of the market it's been a thing for years now, and I think that regardless of his price tag, people are just going to look to see if he's had success or is not going to have success. And he's had an immediate impact, which is great, but it's about now keeping that up. Can he keep up scoring every other game, or having an impact, whether it's an assist or chances created? Yeah, exactly. So I think that it's a good scenario with Ten Hag bringing in a guy he knows very well, as he coached them on Ajax. Same thing with Lisandro Martinez, another player he coached. So it's players he's familiar with and are familiar with his play style. So I think that a guy like Anthony coming in can adapt quickly, because he's a clever player too. He's got a great IQ. I really like his football IQ and his awareness. And he is a flashy player. He's got a little bit of that Brazilian flair, but He knows when to keep the game simple too, and I like that about a player. So I like Anthony.
I know, going back to the price tag, he was valued at 45 mil when United did buy him.
Yeah.
He has since, his market valuation has since shot up 30 mil to 75 mil. So when you look at it like that, 100 mil for a player that is valued in the market at 75 mil isn't that bad of a price tag to be paying for somebody like that. But I just still think he isn't worth that $75 million transfer valuation that was placed on him. It's just, that was only a big jump because of the price tag that United put on him. You know
And
what I mean?
just
It was kind of like a
playing
market
for
difference.
Man United and PL,
Yeah.
it's the way the market is. I'm not shocked by it anymore. At the end of the day, I just want to see if this guy can have an impact in the team, and if he could do it over a season's length, great. And that will justify the price tag, as the days go by. So, Anthony.
Gabriel Jesus. Is he the striker that is going to put Arsenal in the Champions League spot? Very simple.
Man, if he keeps playing the way he's been playing, then I think so. Why not? Why not? This guy's been a fantastic addition. Someone that has, he's got mobility. And I feel like strikers that they've had in recent times, whether it was Lacazette or Aubameyang, they lack that. And he's just so clinical, man. He's so clinical, and he's super underrated. I think that he had a fire burning under him because he knew his own quality on City. He knew that he was capable of starting. Just Pep didn't really give him the minutes that he deserved. And then he goes to a side where he's guaranteed minutes. There's less competition, obviously. All he's got there is Nketiah battling with him. But with that in mind, he's still really pushed himself as a player and taken that next step. And he's been their best player, and a major reason why they sit in the standings at the top of the table.
I completely agree. I think he's easily been their best player. I know a lot of Arsenal fans are expecting a lot from him, expecting a lot from likes of Gabriel Martinelli, expecting a lot from Odegaard, Saka. Saliba coming into this squad has made a massive difference. I still think that Saliba has some work to do. I know he's been very good over the last couple of games. I still wouldn't consider him a top defender in the Premier yet, just simply because he hasn't shown enough. It's been 7 games, like we keep falling back to. Can you give a guy a title after 7 games? No. But he is a defender that can make a lasting impact. Gabriel Jesus is a striker that can make a lasting impact. Will Arsenal finally get a Champions League spot? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. In my personal opinion.
Well, Daniel, the question you asked was, will he help them get to a spot? That was your question. He's one player. The rest of the team needs to succeed around him as well. Because Gabriel is just going to have bad days. That's just the way it goes. He's not going to get on the score sheet every single game. And when he's not on the score sheet, who else is going to carry that load? You need to have leadership from the rest of the squad and results from the rest of the squad. It can't just be Gabriel Jesus. So I think Arsenal can get into a spot, but who knows? Who knows? We say a lot of things, and then they don't always pan out. It's me and you. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Next talking point. Antonio Conte. He's a world-class manager.
I don't like him anymore.
Come on, you don't like him anymore.
I don't like him.
Stop it with that.
I don't like him. This guy tried to fight Tuchel. I don't like him.
Yeah, look where Tuchel is now.
Yeah, Tuchel got fired. Tuchel got fired, but Spurs they lost to Sporting the other day in the Champions League, and they could have been first in the. I'm sorry, Tottenham should be top of that group. They should be, and they're not because they slipped up at the end there. So I think Conte's great, but Tuchel's better.
Yeah.
I would love to. That's okay. That's okay. He has a UCL. It's okay. He's got some titles. Tuchel's just fine, man. He's just fine. And the one thing I would love to see after that little scrum they had there, or little beef they had there, was a nice boxing match. Yeah, I would pay to watch that.
KSI Logan Paul?
KSI, they wouldn't even headline. I don't want Tuchel and Conte headlining it. They'd be the main event.
Come on.
Let's get ready to rumble. And then you have Tuchel there. That'd be sick. Who'd be in his corner? Who'd be in Tuchel's corner behind them?
Come on, who would be Tuchel's corner?
I think Klopp would be there. The German link up. Maybe Havertz. He loves Havertz, man. He loves.
No,
Havertz.
you know who would?
This guy would play Havertz
this
center
is
back if
wild.
he could. He'd play him center back. Or as a wing back.
I think probably Havertz. Mason Mount. He loves Mason Mount.
He does love Mason Mount.
I don't know why he loves Mason Mount that much. Nobody should like Mason Mount that much. Come on, like Mason Mount has been good this year. It's been shocking.
He's been all right. He's been okay.
All right.
The whole Chelsea team's been underrated underwhelming. I mean, underwhelming. The best players have been Koulibaly. That's it.
Getting back on track.
Yeah.
Conte is finally making Tottenham a team to fear this year. I think they have higher expectations this year than they have in a very long time. Because this side seems like they finally want to work. And I always go back to one player who I think is just an absolute work machine, who a lot of people do not like in this league. Højbjerg, to me, is fantastic under Conte, because Conte basically lights a fire under him, and Højbjerg works. And he doesn't stop working the entire 90 minutes. And he's got it on the score sheet. He assists, he creates chances, and on top of that, he's a defensive workhorse. He puts in effort more than anybody else in this entire squad, and he matches his manager's effort and passion that he has.
Well, that's why he got rid of Ndombele, because the guy's lazy. He's like, see you later. He likes players that work. You got a guy in Bentancur that likes to play as a box-to-box player, does the dirty work too. He's got some more depth in the wings with Perisic now. But I don't know. I've never been a fan of Tottenham, like in the sense that I see them having much success. Even with Conte, they've had numerous managers come in and they've all underperformed. So I don't know. I think it's a culture thing at Tottenham. I think they don't have a winning culture there, and I think it's going to stay like this. I don't see them doing too well. Especially, they should top that. Going back to CL, they should top that CL group, no problem, because they have Frankfurt, they have Marseille, and Sporting. Sporting's been poor in the league, their domestic league. I think
they were.
So. Same thing with Frankfurt. They've been doing very poor in their domestic league. The only team that's been doing a little bit better is Marseille, but still, it's a group where they should go out and dominate if they want to show that they've changed, but they haven't, and they're still underwhelming in many areas.
Mm-hmm. Look, another reason why I also think that Tottenham is going to be a team not to mess with this year is the fact that they're currently sitting in third. They haven't lost a game.
I thought they were gonna say it's because their manager will fight you after a game. But.
That too, but they're 5-2-0. They haven't lost a game yet this year.
In the league.
They have a guy like Son. Son was in a 9-game scoring drought.
Yeah.
Okay, this was spanning back to even this, including other games outside the league. He's in a 9-game scoring drought. He's been poor. This week, Antonio Conte made a statement and he left him off the starting lineup. I think a few weeks back, somebody asked him that Son's been in a scoring drought. He goes, it would be stupid to leave Son out of the starting lineup. Anyways, he did. You know what Son did? Son came on in the 60th minute and he scored 3 goals in 13 minutes off the bench. Which is just wild to me that they're sitting in 5th with Son being in a massive scoring drought. Those 3 goals gave him the game, gave him the 3 points. And Son's confidence is now high, very high, considering he's now going to be starting next week. He's going to be expected to go out there, perform well, score some goals, link up with Harry Kane like he loves to do, and perform for this Tottenham side, who has yet to see him perform well this year. And without him performing well, they still sit third.
I don't know. Spurs are Spurs, bro. They got like a chicken.
They do. They have the worst mentality.
They have a rooster or chicken for their logo. Like I can take them seriously. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, next topic, Daniel. What is it? Hit me with
Nottingham Forest has bought 21 players.
Shee! 21 players. These guys are playing career mode out here.
2 teams.
They're playing career mode out here.
And they spent over 150 million doing so. With signing a guy like Morgan Gibbs White for 35 million when his transfer valuation is like 7.
That's the power of the Prem. But there's so many dollars involved and money involved. So when you get promoted, you do really see a rise in your transfer budget. And Nottingham Forest, I think they're really trying to go out there and tell everyone, we're serious about staying up. It's been such a long time since we've been up in the first flight of English football. Let's make a statement and let's see if we can actually do something. 21 players is outrageous. I think bringing in 8 to 10 guys is already like, whoa, like chemistry. Where's it going to be? How
Where's
are we
the
going to
hierarchy in the team?
Yeah, how are we going to balance this? Where's the hierarchy? Like you said, if it's a whole new squad of players, what happens to the guys that actually worked so hard and brought you up? What happens to them? Unfortunately, a lot of departures of players that made an impact in the championship last year. That, where are they now? They're not involved now.
They're not involved.
Yes, they brought in some quality guys, but then, like you said, Morgan Gibbs White, is he worth 40 mil? No, he's not. That for me is insane amount of money to pay for him. Considering the fact that you already had a guy like Lingard that could play that position already, that you got for next to nothing. And then I like the Nigerian striker they brought in from Berlin, Awoni. I keep butchering that name, but he's been a great addition. I really like him. But then you bring in guys like Serge Aurier. Like, do you really need him? He's really fallen off in the last 3 years. Bali was a weird center back signing. Didn't really get many minutes in Wolves.
Niakate?
Niakate, yeah, he's good, but he's injured. He's injured for a little bit. Freuler was an interesting one. I really like Freuler coming over from Italian football. I think he brings a lot of quality and leadership. But they bought a French fullback center half, Biancon, and he really hasn't played at all. I liked Henderson coming in. I thought that was a great loan signing. Really quality goalkeeper. But then again, like Samba left last year, they got rid of a leader in their team, their former goalkeeper. Lolly found his way out to Australian football. It's just like you're reshaping so much. There's so much that could go wrong. Like it could go wrong, right? And the dynamics of the team, what are they now? It's very different than what it was only 4 months ago when they finished off and qualified, right, for the Prem. And they spent all this money, yet they still stand in 19th. So is this experiment of spending 150 mil, bringing in 21 guys, gonna pan out? It doesn't look like it has so far. Again, it's only 7 games. It's a small sample, but for me as a fan, I'd be like, looking at all these guys are bringing in, it's somewhat exciting, but after a while, it's like, okay, what's the purpose, right? So, 21 guys is insane. It's insane. It's insane.
It's just nuts. Like, there's no need to bring in 21 guys.
Why not spend the same amount of money, buy less players, but they're quality guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're bringing in
4 guys right now at $40 million each.
Yeah, I like Lodi.
That aren't Morgan Gibbs White for $40 million.
I really like Lodi coming in.
I do like Lodi too. It was a good sign.
It was so weird because he was playing like fantastic football at Atleti. Last year in the UCL, he had a crazy campaign last year. I thought he was phenomenal. So bringing in a guy like that for Nottingham is really a great signing. But again, it shows you the pull of PL clubs. Like, it's a guy goes from playing for Atletico Madrid, in the Champions League to playing, he's not playing European football anymore. He's just playing domestically, but he's playing for a team that just got promoted. It's absolutely crazy to me.
Premier League pull at its finest.
And he's not even like old. He's gonna hit his prime. He hasn't even hit his prime. He's so young, early 20s. That one was crazy to me. When they signed him, I was like, whoa, like this is the PL pull, this is real. So I like that one. I like that signing. But beyond that, there's too many guys I don't think they even need. So weird. It's very weird.
Moving on from Nottingham Forest onto our last major talking point that we've missed. But this is really still going on. Leicester City is still yet to win a game this year in the Premier League. and they have
Rough.
conceded 22 goals in 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
They're 0-1-6 or 0-6-1.
Yeah, they're brutal. They're
They're
really
poor,
bad.
very poor. 0-1-6.
Daniel, this is
Is Leicester going to get relegated? No chance.
man. We say no to a lot of things. Like, we say like we'll say, oh, you know what? Leicester would have never won the league. They're never gonna win the Prem. We
Yeah.
said that years before they won, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
or there's just things that never even come up serious in the conversation. If you said Leicester was to get relegated, or get promoted or win the league, sorry, before they had won it, people would be like, "Are you crazy? Are you
People would have
insane?"
laughed at you.
It's football, man. You never know what could happen, and I think that saying Leicester to get relegated this year isn't something too outrageous considering how bad they've been. They lose Fofana, a guy that they really relied on last year, and Brendan Rodgers loved, to Chelsea. A guy that had a big impact when he's on the pitch. But I just look at their roster, and it's like kind of
Underwhelming.
well, you lose Schmeichel too, another guy that you've relied on so heavily, and now you
Which
have,
was just a ridiculous transfer, in my opinion. Just ridiculous.
So you have Danny Ward in there, and he's got a little bit of experience, but I don't think he's Schmeichel level.
Mhm.
And then you got slow center backs in Evans and Vestergaard. Soyuncu wants to leave, so you can't rely on him. They bought in the Belgian Wout Faes. So there's that.
Mhm.
I don't know. I look at this roster, this squad, and I'm looking at it right now on my phone. The guys that stand out to me are guys like Yuri Tielemans,
Madison.
But Matter's been terrible this year. And Didi.
You don't think Madison's been good this year?
I don't know. I think the whole team's been underperforming, to be honest.
They have been, but I think Madison's been the one guy that actually stands out in this Leicester squad. You know who's been poor, who I didn't expect to be that poor? Vardy.
Yeah, Vardy's been rough.
bad.
And they've been relying on guys like Dewsbury Hall this year.
Who I cannot stand personally, but that's a whole other story.
No, but I agree with you. I think Madison has been the best player, but overall, like, the whole team's been shocking. So
Yeah.
see, like, I would have imagined Brendan Rodgers to get fired before a guy like Tuchel would, because this is unusual for Leicester after in their life after winning the league. So I don't know. It'd be really, really shocking to see this team go down, but I think it's possible, Daniel. I think it's really, really possible. I feel like everyone stepped up their game, but Leicester. Like, who did Leicester bring in other than FaZe recently? No one.
That's it.
No one. They haven't brought in anyone. They haven't improved the squad. The squad's got weaker by losing guys like Fofana, Schmeichel. So I don't know. I'm not impressed, and I think
they don't have an impressive squad at all.
No, so yeah, I think Leicester's gonna go down. I want to be bold and say Leicester's gonna go down.
Bold. No chances.
All right, Daniel. Let's go into let's go. That's everything we missed, more or less.
The biggest talking points. Unless if we're missing something, pages about it. Open up the social at Premier Talk Official. Go to the last graphic. Just DM us. We missed something. We probably have. Been a while. Anyways, that's all I have to say.
I was gonna say
recap.
Yeah. Okay.
What were you saying?
No. I was gonna say, like, you probably missed Maguire in the pitch or something, but
that I had not missed. Actually, very happy about that. Table recap. I want to rifle, or do you want to go one by one, or do you want to just rifle off everything and then discuss?
I think that we should highlight, like, interesting things here, because we went over Leicester already. A very interesting one for me is West Ham. Like, what is West Ham doing in 18th? Like, that one to me is insane.
No, to me,
it's insane.
I'm completely okay with them being 18th.
They
spent $200 million this transfer window on garbage.
They have, yeah. You don't like that? You don't like the Italian striker from Sassuolo?
Sassuolo, what the guy with all the tattoos was a big boy. What's the guy's name?
Samaka.
Yeah, Shamaka. Yeah.
Samaka.
No.
I think it's
no.
I say no. I see it's shocking in the sense like it's weird in the sense seeing West Ham there because last year they were up there. They were up there in the standings and they were competitive in Europe in the Conference League. They they didn't make it to the final ultimately, but they were pretty competitive in that campaign. So seeing them here is kind of strange. It's kind of strange. And then
Brighton in 4th.
what do you think of Brighton? Yeah, I was gonna go to Brighton. It's such I love that Ecuadorian kid that's playing in the middle of the park right now. I believe his name's Stupian. He's a fantastic box to
He's a
box
fullback. Are we talking about the same guy?
I'm not sure. No, that might be a different guy that they have. I'll tell you right now. His name is Sassedo.
I was gonna say
I mix up the names. So Sassedo, Stupian's the fullback.
the fullback, yeah.
And Sassedo is the box to box midfielder player. He's fantastic. That guy's a beast. That guy's a beast, and he's only 20 years old. 20 years old. I don't know. I feel like Brighton's so weird because they got rid of Neil Maupay. They're a danger man up front. No, but in all seriousness, they bring in like these guys from small clubs. Yeah, small clubs. They buy in these guys. They're very good in their scouting, and they build them up to being competitive players and at the level of the PL. So I like what they've done in Brighton, and I think that you look on paper, it doesn't seem like a great team, but the way they play on the pitch is actually something worth tuning into every weekend. So I like Brighton, and I don't think it's by chance that they're in the position they're in because they beat some good teams so far this year.
Same thing. Another surprising team that's sitting higher up in the table than we would have thought. Fulham. Mitrovic is a beast, just a monster.
Hey, don't sleep on João Palhinha, man. Don't sleep on him. Nah,
he can go on. He can give Mitrovic the ball, and Mitrovic can go on and score. Mitrovic is a beast.
Fulham's another team that spent a lot of money this off season, this summer transfer window. They brought in Diop, Palhinha. They brought in Willian. That was a weird one recently. Free agent.
Was weird.
Andres Pereira, the former Manchester United man. So they brought in James. So a lot of guys. And Vinicius from formerly of Benfica and of PSV. And Babu, another guy. So they brought in a bunch of new faces into the side, but not nearly as many as Nottingham. No one has. But I feel like they were much more. This is the difference between them and Nottingham is they've been much more selective, I think, with who they're bringing in and what they're going to do immediately as they get into the rotation of the squad. And I think bringing a guy like Palhinha, he's just a disruptor and a very physical player that has success in this league so far because it's just a very aggressive and physical league. So he's really boss time midfield. I like him a lot, not just because he's Portuguese, but because he lays his heart out there on the field every time. So guys like that have been great for them so far. Andres has been okay too. And I thought that Willian was an interesting one too. Seeing him play the other day, he did. Back. Yeah, he was good. He was okay. He lacks a little bit of speed, but he makes up for it in his IQ. He's a very smart player again. And then, like you said, Mitrovic is the highlight of that team. And if
Mitrovic is that guy,
he is that guy. You're not that guy, pal, but he's that guy.
He's that guy.
He's that guy. So I think Fulham can stay afloat this year. I don't think they're gonna get relegated. I don't think so. They brought in some really quality guys. So
7th and 8th, Chelsea, Liverpool. We've already discussed both of these. Just surprising for them to be there. They've had pretty poor starts to the season.
Oh, Liverpool's gonna shoot up though. They will, 100%.
They will. I know that they will too. My last team that I want to discuss just briefly is Newcastle. New owners, willing to spend lots of money, and they have a weird record. They tied City they were beating them 3-1. Like this is 3 match days ago or 4 match days ago. They were beating them 3-1. They ended up tying that game 3-3 just because Haaland's a beast. And when City goes down, they like to find ways to come back into games. They sit with the record 1 win, 5 draws, 1 loss. It's a weird record, but they do sit 10th.
They just
Do
brought
you
it.
think
Yeah, go ahead.
they're going to get better? They're going to finish up higher in the table than 10th.
Higher than 10th. Ooh,
Yeah. Bringing in Isak, which I think that's who you were about to mention.
Yeah, I was going to mention Isak. I think that's why they brought him in, because they're lacking in the goal department. They've been tying a lot of games. I think he'll offer you an outlet up front because they got some great wingers. I like Alain Saint-Maxime. I think he's fantastic. And then you balance that small, agile player with the striker up top. A fixed striker like Isak, he's very big. You know, you might have some success there.
Joe Wellington in that midfield.
Joe Wellington, that was so. I still
It was so weird. It's still the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan, but I think they lack a little bit in the middle of the park. That's what really kills them. They Guimarães is good, but Willock, he's here and he's there sometimes, you know. But I think that they can maybe move up a couple more places, but not past 8th for sure. Not past 8th. I think Isak will help for sure. But it's a lot of weight on that kid's shoulders at 70 mil, and you know, to perform right away. So we'll see. I'm actually interested in seeing how he pans out, because I like watching Isak play for Sweden. I never really watched him play for Sociedad, but I like watching him play international football, and he was pretty important to that Swedish national team. So
I watched him more on Sociedad, but I think he's going to be good. I think there was a lot of comparisons for him coming into the league. I think there was like even Arsenal were really interested in him at one point. It was between
Arsenal was
Jonathan David or him. And I think Isak is better than Jonathan David is, although Jonathan David is Canadian international. Can't disrespect.
Two different types of players.
Isak is for me is a better number 9 to have up top, and him in the Prem already for I think he's only played like a few games. He already has a couple goals to his name, and I think he's really going to pan out pretty well for Newcastle.
Okay, then I think we should switch over to our yearly predictions now, and get into who we think up front. Let's just go with it. Who you got as your pick for champion this year?
I think there's no debate in this. I think it's going to be Manchester City yet again, as sad as it is to say.
Yep.
I don't think anybody matches their quality that they have.
No, I think that every other team but City, didn't, like, Liverpool lost something, you know what I mean? Liverpool lost Mane, and I think that's going to really be that tough thing for them this year to get over. But City didn't really lose anyone. They didn't lose anything. They gained Haaland. They also got oh my God,
who are you thinking about?
Oh my gosh, there's a blank on his name. Akanji.
Line, yeah.
So they also solidified another center half there to play. I guess he's going to balance with Ake and Stone. So, and Laporte, because Laporte is injured for a while. So he has a great mixture there at the center half position as well. So, City didn't really lose anyone. Yeah. And Chelsea looks like a little bit off still. We mentioned Liverpool off. Those are the real 3 contenders, I think. I still don't think. I think Arsenal needs a little more time and a couple more pieces to be at City's level. And then Tottenham, I don't see them even in that debate. So
I see Tottenham finishing.
I don't know. I haven't mentioned United yet, but I still think United's on the same page, just like at Chelsea right now, where they're in a transition period where coach management has changed. Ronaldo's at a place where is he staying? Is he not? Who's the next guy going to be for that team? So I think City's just cruising right now. They're in cruise mode. Everything's good.
They're in cruise mode and they're not even first, which is scary.
No, but they're going to catch up. No problem.
They will.
No problem. So
we've got the ground champions.
Yeah, City.
I think we're going to have a couple of different looks at this one, different opinions. Who are your top 4 teams that are going to finish in the Champions League spot?
City. Liverpool's back right now, but they're gonna catch up. They're gonna catch up. So I say City, Liverpool, and I'm gonna go a little more bolder here. I'm gonna say Arsenal's gonna finish in there and United.
Okay, so I got City,
I don't think
Liverpool, and
I
United.
don't see Chelsea doing it. I don't see Chelsea finishing up there. That's
I
my
don't see
as much as I
Chelsea.
like Chelsea, I just don't think they're gonna be able to. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't see Chelsea this year. I do not see also Arsenal. I see Arsenal falling off major. I think they have to still hit their cycle this year. Currently, they're like Arteta's the best manager in the world. We're gonna finish Champions League football cycle, but they're soon gonna get to Arteta out. We stink. They're not gonna finish Champions League football for me. They're gonna finish, I would say, fifth. I got Tottenham finishing Champions League football this year. I think something's different about this Tottenham side this year.
I don't see it in Tottenham to do it, but you never know, right? You never know.
Mhm.
You never know. Yeah.
Who's your
they could
dark
finish
horse?
fourth, yeah.
Who's your dark horse in this league? Not to go on to win it because I don't think anybody is gonna, or not even to go out and finish top four. Somebody that you don't want to be playing on a week that has the skill to go and beat out a good team.
That's a good one. I think Brighton's a great pick for that. Brighton's been a team where you have guys like Trossard that always. I feel like Trossard's like that guy
He's
in
an
those big
annoying guy
matches.
to play
He's so
against.
annoying to play against. So I'd say probably Brighton. If not Brighton, I would probably go with Fulham.
I got Fulham here.
I would go with Fulham because I think that Mark Silva has a great roster in squad selection this year. Guys like Mitrovic are super annoying to play against. And then to disrupt you, you got guys like Padinha, and then solid back line. Got some pace back there as well with their fullbacks. So I like Fulham. I think Fulham can be a problem this year.
Yep, that's what I got for my dark horse. I think Fulham's gonna be a real problem this year. I think Mitrovic, like last year, he broke the championship record for most goals in a year. I don't think he's gonna have that kind of productivity this year, but I think he's gonna be good. And I think he's gonna be that guy for Fulham, the guy that they heavily lean on, the guy that they rely on week in and week out. Just making them a team that I wouldn't want to come up against.
Daniel,
Relegation.
Let me hear your relegation picks, and I'll hit you with mine.
Nottingham Forest at 150 million. I hope they get relegated just for that. 150 million for 21 new players is just absolutely absurd. And then I got two teams that these are more out there. Wolves, who Diego Costa is going to come in, the biggest shithousery of all time. He's going to come in. He's going to try to impact Wolves. Don't think he's going to have much success. And they're going to get relegated. And then another one, Southampton. Over the last few years, Southampton's been a side that has not impressed me at all. I think a player that needs to get out of there is Ward-Prowse. I think he has too much talent to be playing on the Southampton side. And I think he can really move to a top tier team in the Premier League. And I think Southampton is going to be the third and final team to get relegated.
Danny, I'm right with you with the Southampton pick. I think that Southampton's gonna struggle this year. And I think that their years in the Premier League are gonna end this year, or next year in 2023, come springtime. So I'm gonna go with Southampton. I'm gonna go with as much as I love Nottingham Forest, there's something cool about Nottingham Forest just with the history. They got 2 UCL titles back in the day, and coming up this year. But I just don't think they're going to stay up. So I'm going to go Southampton, Nottingham, and then I'm going to go bold and pick Leicester. I say Leicester just because the way they've been playing has been poor. And then if it continues like this, is Rodgers out? And then they're going to have to adapt to a new manager. That might be difficult. So I know it's very, very early on, but I'm going to go Leicester. Southampton, and then Nottingham. So those are my three. Wolves are staying up, aka Portugal B team staying up. So yeah, we're good.
I think we'll revisit this near the end of the year, and we'll see how poorly or possibly how good our picks were. But we'll see. Definitely a lot more Premier League matches that need to happen before any of these come true. That's maybe the City one. They might go on and win the title the quickest.
You know what? Can I switch? I want to switch Nottingham. I want to
Who?
switch Nottingham. I'm gonna switch Nottingham and put Bournemouth there. So I'm gonna do Bournemouth, Leicester, and Southampton. Those are my picks.
Okay.
Yeah, those are my picks.
Those are your picks.
Yeah, I think Nottingham will gel a little more as things go on. You know, I'm rooting for them, and I think I don't know. Bournemouth lacks in many areas on their team. So yeah, I go with Bournemouth.
Not bad picks. They're not bad.
Okay, Daniel.
That is.
I think that about wraps it up for this episode.
It's a long epi.
It was a long epi. Season 4, episode 1. You know, thanks for tuning in as always. We really appreciate your support. Check us out on the socials, on Instagram. You know, give us a follow if you haven't already. And we're gonna get back into the swing of things with weekly podcast episodes alongside social media content and news. So stay tuned to the socials.
Yep, we appreciate you guys as always. Just remember, thank you for listening. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube. Follow us on our socials at Instagram. Hopefully TikTok coming soon. There's a little sneak peek right there. And wherever you guys want to see us, we will be there. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Ciao.